You ever notice how everybody walks around like their life is a goddamn press release? Like every person is their own PR manager now, selling nonsense nobody asked for. People don't just exist anymore, they gotta brand themselves. They got job titles, business cards, LinkedIn profiles, all with these big, inflated, self-important descriptions of crap that means absolutely nothing. You ask somebody, what do you do? And instead of saying, I answer phones, now it's, I'm a communications specialist, facilitating multi-platform engagement strategies for inbound resource acquisition. No, you're not. You're a receptionist, sweetheart. Calm down. Everybody wants to look important, but nobody actually is. We've created this entire culture where mediocrity has to be dressed up in a tuxedo before anybody can admit what it really is. Take sports trophies for kids. Used to be you had to win something to get a trophy. Now, you show up, you get a medal. Hell, you could fall asleep on the bench drooling on yourself and some soccer mom is still pinning a ribbon on your chest. A great effort. No, it wasn't. It was drool. Don't give out awards for drool. And have you noticed people love to put on this fake importance at work? The job itself is useless, but boy, they'll make sure you know how critical they are to other teams. People who work in cubicles especially, they make spreadsheets sound like they're curing polio. You'll hear them say things like, I manage dynamic workflow optimization across cross-functional teams. Translation? I send emails. Big ones, small ones, sometimes with an attachment if I'm feeling dangerous. That's it. And somehow this makes them feel like they're the architect of Western civilization. It's all about dressing up nothing, even the way companies name the jobs. The guy who takes your trash out at the office is no longer a janitor. He's a sanitation engineer. The guy who parks your car, automotive relocation specialist, the lady who checks groceries at the store, a retail experience associate. All these titles, none of them add a dime to the paycheck. Just extra syllables to make you forget how underpaid you really are. Because if they call you a vice president of coffee distribution, maybe you won't notice you're making minimum wage pouring lattes. And people eat it up too. They love having their nonsense elevated. It makes them feel like they matter. Everybody's got a diploma, everybody's got a certificate, everybody's got a badge for completing some training seminar that basically boils down to, oh, we told you how not to burn the building down. Here's your framed paper. It's insane. You could train a monkey to use PowerPoint, and some HR department would still hand it a laminated badge that says, Certified Presentation Specialist. Imagine a monkey with a tie and a LinkedIn profile, helping organizations climb to new heights. But it's not just work. Oh no, people decorate their personal lives with fake importance too. Ever been to a wedding? My God, it's like people have convinced themselves they're staging the opening ceremony of the Olympics. Doves flying, violins playing, ice sculptures taller than the priest. And the vows? Forget it. Nobody just says, I love you, let's stick it out. It's always a 7-minute TED talk about destiny, universes aligning, and how when they first met, the cosmos shifted in their favor. No, it didn't. You met at a bar. He was drunk, you were lonely. Let's keep it honest. Graduations are another one. A kid graduates kindergarten and they throw a cap and gown on him like he just defended a PhD thesis. Whoa, we're so proud. He's moving on to first grade. Lady, it's mandatory. He wasn't going to stay in kindergarten until 40. Don't act like he cracked the human genome. The kid can barely tie his shoes and you're making him wear a polyester robe so you can cry in the bleachers. Everything is bloated, exaggerated, pumped full of hot air. Even entertainment. Award shows? Jesus Christ. Millions of dollars spent so a bunch of people can hand each other shiny statues and give speeches about how brave they were to pretend to be a cowboy for 6 weeks on location. Actors talking like they stormed Normandy. This role challenged me. It forced me to dig deep, deep. You wore a fake mustache and cried on cue. Calm down, Marlon Brando. The news does it too. They'll take the most trivial story and pump it up into a national crisis. A breaking news tonight, a squirrel disrupted traffic in downtown Cleveland. They'll roll graphics, play dramatic music, send a reporter to the scene. As you can see, Tom, the squirrel is no longer here, but witnesses say he looked frightened, and people eat it up, like the fate of humanity hinges on this rodent. That's the disease we've all caught. The need to feel like everything we do matters on some grand cosmic level. Nobody can admit their life is mostly boring and unremarkable. They gotta project importance, polish their image, and inflate their role until it sounds like they're holding civilization together with duct tape. And that's the big joke. All this fake importance is really just insecurity with a bow tie. People can't stand the thought of being ordinary, so they pretend their tiny corner of existence is a Broadway production. When really, it's just life. Simple, messy, ordinary life. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I love about people? They'll fight tooth and nail to convince you they're free. Oh yeah, you ask anybody, are you free? And they puff up like a balloon. Of course I'm free. This is the land of opportunity. Really? You think you're free because you get to pick between Coke and Pepsi? You think you're free because you can choose between 32 different brands of toothpaste, all owned by the same 3 companies. That's not freedom. That's a scavenger hunt in a grocery store. People love the illusion of choice. That's the trick. They don't actually need to give you real freedom. All they need to do is make you feel like you're deciding something. They'll hand you a menu with 50 items, but they cook them all in the same dirty kitchen. Doesn't matter if you order the chicken or the fish, you're still going to end up with food poisoning. But hey, at least you decided, right? Take politics. Oh, that's the best one. Everybody gets excited every few years. This time it's different. This time we've got real change. And then what do you get? The same clowns in different suits. 2 flavors of the same ice cream, vanilla and French vanilla. And you're supposed to think one of them is revolutionary. They keep you busy fighting over the label while the same people behind the curtain count the money. You don't pick the system. You just get to pick which puppet is going to read the script this season. And people argue about it like it matters. They'll scream, they'll cry, they'll fight at Thanksgiving dinner over which candidate is up for the people. Neither one is for you. They're for the corporation, the donors, the guys writing the checks. You're a spectator who gets to push a button once every few years and then go home feeling like you did your civic duty. You didn't do jack. You played dress-up democracy. Congratulations, it's everywhere. Even the little stuff. Ever notice how every company wants to make you think you're in control? They'll hand you a phone with 300 customizable settings. You can change the wallpaper, rearrange the apps, switch the ringtone. Wow, you're a real rebel now. Meanwhile, the damn phone is tracking everything you do, selling your data, and listening in when you yell at your dog. But you change your ringtone to smoke on the water so you're in charge. Sure, look at shopping. Stores make you think you're the boss. Have it your way. And because you're worth it. You deserve the best. No, you don't. You don't deserve anything. They just figured out that if they tell you you're special, you'll hand over your credit card without blinking. They make you feel like royalty for 10 seconds while you're picking out a shampoo bottle. Then they slap you with the bill and laugh all the way to the bank. You don't even get to pick your own habits anymore. They tell you what to eat, what to drink, what to wear, what's in style. Ever notice how suddenly everybody decides the same thing is cool at the exact same time? Like in the 90s, all of a sudden every jackass had to have those giant pants with the pockets big enough to smuggle a family of raccoons. Nobody thought of that on their own. Somebody told them it was of the look, and like sheep, everybody bought it. That's not free choice. That's fashion slavery with a denim waistband. The best part? People defend it. They'll say, well, I choose what I want. No, you don't. You choose from what you're shown. You're like a rat in a maze, bragging about which corner of the cheese you decided to nibble. The rat doesn't see the walls, but the walls are there. That's the whole point. Think about your work. You're told you can choose your career path. What a joke. You pick between a handful of jobs that all suck in different ways. You either get long hours with bad pay or short hours with worse pay. If you're lucky, you get a title that sounds fancy enough to fool your parents. But don't pretend you're free. You're chained to the rent, the bills, the groceries, the car payments. That's not freedom. That's a hamster wheel with better marketing. And people fall for it because they want to believe it's easier to believe you're in control than admit you're not. Nobody wants to wake up in the morning, look in the mirror and say, well, I'm basically a well-trained pet in a giant open-air kennel. No, that's depressing. So instead, we tell ourselves stories. I'm free because I can go to Taco Bell at 3 a.m. Wow, revolutionary. Thomas Jefferson would be so proud. The trick is, they don't take your freedom all at once. They do it piece by piece, inch by inch, give you just enough wiggle room so you don't panic. Like a goldfish in a bowl that thinks it's swimming in the ocean. The fish doesn't know there's a world outside the glass. It thinks those plastic castles and pebbles are the whole deal. That's us. We got cell phones, cable TV, drive-thrus, and we think we're on top of the world. But it's still the same little bowl, just with Wi-Fi. And then, every now and then, somebody says, hey, wait a second. Isn't this all rigged? And the rest of the fish say, shut up and enjoy the castle, man. Don't rock the bowl. That's how deep the illusion goes. We don't just accept it, we defend it. We ridicule anybody who points out the scam, because it's easier to attack them than admit we've been duped. You ever notice how stupidity is the one thing that never takes a holiday? It never sleeps, it never slows down, it never calls in sick. Stupidity is the only thing in life that runs on time, every time. Planes get delayed, trains break down, the power goes out, but stupidity? Right on schedule every day, every hour, everywhere you look. You don't even have to search for it anymore. It finds you. It creeps into your conversations. It cuts you off in traffic. It writes emails in all caps. You could lock yourself in a cabin in the woods, no phone, no internet, no TV, and within 5 minutes, some guy will wander in to ask if the trees know it's Sunday. And the best part, people don't just have stupidity. They're proud of it. They flaunt it. They wear it like a medal. Nobody ever says, hey, I've been trying to get smarter. No. What you hear is, I'm just being real. I say what's on my mind. Well, what's on your mind is garbage, but thanks for sharing it with the group. Look around. We are surrounded by oceans of stupidity. It's in the schools, it's in the workplaces, it's in the shopping malls, it's in those motivational posters with eagles flying over mountains. They shoot for the moon. Why? Half of you can't hit the toilet. Start small. The human race has this magical ability to invent tools that could change the world, and then immediately use them to prove how dumb we are. We invented the internet, the greatest information library in history. And what do people do with it? They argue with strangers about whether Elvis is still alive. We put satellites into space, machines that can beam images across continents in seconds, and people use them to send each other pictures of cats with misspelled captions. That's the species you belong to. Feel proud. And it's not just silly stupidity. No. It's dangerous stupidity, too. People believe whatever nonsense comes across their path. You tell them drinking carrot juice will make them immortal, and they'll line up at the store. You tell them the world is ending on Tuesday, and they'll sell their house. You tell them you have magic rocks that can cure arthritis, and they'll buy 2 sets. One for the knees and one for special occasions. There's no bottom to the well. The real kicker is how stupidity spreads faster than anything else. Smart ideas take years to gain traction. Wisdom takes patience. Knowledge takes effort. But stupidity, instant hit, overnight sensation. You can start the dumbest rumor in a bar at noon, and by midnight it'll be gospel truth across 3 counties. Meanwhile, the truth is sitting in the corner like, hello? Anyone interested? No, nobody cares. Stupidity has better marketing. You know why stupidity always wins? Because it's easier. Being smart is work. You gotta think, you gotta question, you gotta pay attention. Nobody wants to do that. Thinking is exhausting. But stupidity is fun. It's simple, it's easy. You just go with your gut, nod along, and boom, you're part of the herd. The herd doesn't like smart people anyway. They ruin the party. They ask questions, they bring facts, they poke holes in the nonsense. Nobody wants that. The herd wants cheerleaders, not referees. And when stupidity gets together in groups, oh boy, that's when it really shines. Individually, one stupid person can be annoying, but get 100 of them in the same place, and suddenly you've got a movement. They march, they chant, they make signs, and all of them are wrong at the same time about the same thing, and they think there's power in numbers. There is. Power to block traffic and mispronounce a nuclear. Stupidity loves to vote too. That's how it survives generation after generation. The stupid people always outnumber the smart ones, so every time there's a decision to make, guess which side wins? The side with more bodies, not more brains. And the smart people, the few that are left, they just throw their hands up and say, "What's the use?" Then the stupid people take over the schools, the offices, the media, and the cycle keeps spinning. What's funny is stupid people don't think they're stupid. No, they think they're geniuses. They're convinced of it. They'll argue with you for hours, never realizing they've just repeated the same nonsense 5 times in a row. You ever notice the dumber someone is, the more confident they sound? Meanwhile, the smartest people you'll meet are full of doubt. They say, "Well, I could be wrong." That's how you know they're smart, because they understand what they don't know. Stupid people don't have that problem. They know everything. Just ask them. And we keep feeding the stupidity machine. We celebrate it, we televise it, we vote for it, we buy tickets to see it. Whole industries are built on the back of human stupidity. Advertising, for one. They sell you garbage by convincing you you're too stupid to live without it. This car will change your life. No, it won't. You'll just sit in traffic in a newer seat. This shampoo will make you irresistible. No, it won't. You'll still be you, just smelly. But people buy it because people are stupid. It's an entertainment too. Turn on the TV and what do you see? Smart programming, educational shows. Nope. You get people eating bugs for money, or dating shows where strangers marry each other after 5 minutes, and millions tune in. They love it. They can't get enough. Because nothing makes a stupid person happier than watching someone slightly stupider than they are. It makes them feel like geniuses for a half hour. The really frightening part is stupidity doesn't just survive, it adapts. You can warn people. You can prove them wrong. You can lay out all the facts and it doesn't matter. Stupidity will twist itself into a new shape and keep moving. You can't kill it, it's like cockroaches. You think you stamped it out, and then you turn on the light, and there it is, waving at you from the corner. And you know why? Because deep down, people like it. Stupidity is comforting. It saves you from having to admit the world is complicated. It gives you simple answers, even if they're wrong. It tells you you're right, even when you're not. It pats you on the head and says, "Don't worry about thinking, we've got it covered." And most people are happy to go along with that. And stupidity doesn't just live in people's heads. It lives in their habits. You ever notice how people keep making the same mistakes over and over again, like there's a cosmic loop running? They buy junk they don't need with money they don't have to impress people they don't even like. And every time they swear never again. But the next weekend there they are, standing in line for the same overpriced gadget with a new button on it. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, but stupidity. Stupidity is doing the same thing and not even remembering you did it last time. Look at driving. That's the national showcase for stupidity. The car brings out the real IQ of a person. Somebody can be polite, friendly, respectful face to face. Put them behind a steering wheel. And boom, they're a Neanderthal with a horn. They'll cut you off, speed through red lights, merge into a lane that doesn't even exist, then honk at you like you're the problem. People get into a 3,000-pound death machine and think turn signals are optional, brakes are a suggestion, and the gas pedal is a toy. And if you say something about it, they act surprised. What? I was just driving. No, you were auditioning for Demolition Derby. And don't get me started on how people treat science. Stupidity loves science because it gives it something to mangle. A scientist spends 20 years studying climate, genetics, or medicine, publishes a 600-page report, and then here comes some guy on the internet with a high school diploma and a YouTube channel saying, "I don't buy it." Oh, well, thank you, Professor Beerbelly. I'm sure your research in your basement really clears this up. The human brain is supposed to be this miracle of evolution, capable of imagination, art, invention, but mostly people use it for reality shows and chain letters. You hand people the gift of thought, and what do? They forward an email that says, if you don't send it to 7 people, a ghost will kill your goldfish. That's the cutting edge of the species right there. Forget curing diseases. We're busy protecting imaginary pets from supernatural threats. The workplace is another zoo for stupidity. Office life is built on it. Endless meetings where nothing happens. Buzzwords that mean nothing. Managers pretending their pie charts are revolutionary. We're pivoting our core competencies. What the hell does that mean? But everybody nods like they understand. It's like a secret cult of nonsense. And if you don't nod along, if you say, this is dumb, suddenly you're the problem. Because stupidity is home field advantage. Education? Oh, don't even. People act like schools are temples of knowledge, but half the time they're factories for memorizing useless trivia. And name all the state capitals. Great. That'll come in handy next time I'm stranded in Nebraska and the only way out is to recite 50 cities in alphabetical order. Schools don't teach you how to think. They teach you how to pass a test, fill out a worksheet, and shut up. And then they hand you a diploma and say, good luck out there, champ. No wonder stupidity runs wild. The system breeds it. And people eat it up because stupidity is comfortable. It feels good. You ever notice how the dumbest ideas are always the most optimistic? Everything happens for a reason. Really? Everything? That puddle you just stepped in. The reason is rain, sweetheart. That's it. Follow your dreams. Okay, but what if your dream is to be a professional unicorn tamer? At some point, reality's got to tap you on the shoulder, but nobody likes reality. Reality's boring. Stupidity is sparkly. Stupidity is fireworks. It tells you you're special even when you're not. And people cling to it because it saves them from blame. Stupidity gives you excuses. It's not my fault, it's Mercury in retrograde. No, it's your fault. You missed the bus because you slept in, not because a planet did a U-turn. But stupidity loves to point the finger somewhere else, anywhere else, as long as it keeps you from saying, I screwed up. Responsibility is scary. Stupidity is comforting. The scary part is stupidity gets inherited. It's passed down like a family heirloom. Parents fill their kids with the same nonsense they believe, and the cycle rolls on. That's how we end up with whole generations convinced the earth is flat, or that eating celery burns more calories than it gives you. People think wisdom comes with age. Not really. Sometimes all age does is give stupidity more practice. And you can't fight it with logic. That's the biggest frustration. Logic is a flashlight in a cave, but stupidity is the cave itself. You shine the light, you make your case, you lay out the facts, and the stupid person just squints and says, I still don't believe it. That's it. End of conversation. You can't argue someone out of stupidity because they didn't argue their way into it. They fell into it like a pothole. And when stupidity meets technology, that's when it multiplies. Because now it doesn't just sit quietly in the corner. Oh no, it's got a megaphone. It's got a platform. A guy who used to annoy his friends at the bar can now annoy 1 million people online. His nonsense used to die at the end of the night. Now it's immortal. And people believe it because if it's written down and shared enough times, it feels true. Stupidity has figured out how to go viral. It doesn't just spread, it infects. So here we are, a planet full of people with supercomputers in their pockets. And what do they use them for? Checking horoscopes, sending chain jokes, arguing about which burger place has the best fries. That's human achievement. Thousands of years of evolution. And the highlight is a heated debate over condiments.